Kai. Didn't quite convert it into a pole position for the main event, but even so, it is a bonus point, the last bonus point for intermediates of the season. Again, just uses the pendulum, swings it absolutely beautifully, and in the end, as we know, he came across the line having pretty much nailed every single apex. Sumptuous lap to watch, 3 purple sectors, 9 tenths dropped on the 2-time champion who starts in P7. Contrasting fortunes in qualifying, we go to Super Noodle Bagel. Now, he already passed Jessica Ball in terms of traffic. She got well out of the way. However, others probably weren't so kind. Tuki, lackadaisical during the chicane. You can see the wash of dirty air on the front end. Doesn't hit the first apex. Gets a slide on the rear of the car. He holds his 3.5 tenths advantage, but what more it could have been for the Mercedes man. And then highlighting Formula Kai, I was literally in the process of finding his sector 1 and 2. Because look at this 3/10 margin. That is the margin he held from the first 2 sectors. His first 2 sectors were absolutely immaculate. Credit where credit is due. In terms of raw 1-lap pace, Kai absolutely smashed it out of the park on his final lap. Meraki got close, but not close enough. Even so, a flick of the wheel into the final corner. Pole position for the taking. But how about that? In the context of the championship, all the advantage favours the Sauber driver.
Well, it certainly does. We have one final race, ladies and gentlemen, and we have a beautiful final round of Abu Dhabi to come. Is it going to be Meraki or is it going to be Ben, or are we going to get an absolute cinema moment? We'll find it out. Let's find out with our commentator team, TK and T-Dubs.
Well, who's strapped in? Who's ready for one final run this season? What a fantastic run we've had so far in Season 11. Realistic performance, showing why some of our drivers may prefer the cars that are a little less equal in performance. But today, they're all back in the same motor and under the same power train. But for one final race here in Yas Marina, everything is on the line for our 2 championship contenders. Meraki and TMM 2nd and 7th respectively on our grids. It all comes down to this, with 9 points between.
Ben has never led at any stage in this championship battle, but like we said at the start, this won't be a backdoor job if he manages to steal that 3rd crown, because they were 3 points apart 3 weeks ago, then they were 1 point apart, now they're 2 points apart, and just today things have extended ever so slightly as a McLaren goes trailing down the barriers on the run-up into turn number 9, and Ben going aggressive off the start. Soft compound tyres, not a particularly good compound around this configuration of circuit, but he smells blood in his opening couple of laps. If there's one person that can carve their way through a field, it is Tim and Mark. If there's one person that can carve themselves into the agriculture of this Yas Marina circuit, it is clearly that Sauber driver. I don't know who it was, but going flying into the wall, full pelt.
You're absolutely right. Let's just break this down for the folks at home as to what Jake now needs to do to secure the championship right here, right now. Ben, come over the team radio. We're going to make things happen. Well, I think fireworks are about to fly. Let's just remind you, though, if Jake finishes 1st, 2nd or 3rd, he'll secure the championship regardless of where Team Mardik finishes. If he finishes 4th with the previous driver bonus point, he doesn't quite achieve enough to take the title. It is so close to the wire, as Fabio, I believe, is trying to get himself disqualified from the formation lap to reset his tyres. But here we go then. 58 laps, 190 miles of driving ahead of us. And here come the lights. And 5 lights are indeed lit here in Abu Dhabi. And we Abu Dhabi do as we go racing for the final time. And it's Kai that gets a good pull away. Our championship leader Meraki storms in towards the first corner. Karim tries it around the outside, Vince towards the inside, getting not 1 but 2 places through at the first time of asking. And this is going to hamper Meraki's charge that he would have liked from the very offset. Tim and Marduk's up 2 from race start, as well as he finds himself 5th, dives to the outside as they go 3 wide in towards turn number 8. And this surely is going to help the Australian, who weaves past Meraki, past Razin Chai. He now will try and get Dagko Vince on the run down towards turn number 6 and turn number 7. Can he go for a late dive? But P4 is certainly advantageous here. Side by side they run in towards the chicane, and Ben has revitalised his championship hopes with that start.
Quickly things can change. Cream 17 was so aggressive, so laid down the inside into turn number 5. Caught out Tim and Martin, but then caught short the 2 drivers. He was trying to nab and take them out of his back pocket. Gets up into second place. Meraki finding himself on the all wrong parts of the racing circuit, falling down to P7. And now he's got Infratic to deal with as well into the final set. Dangling the nose down the inside of grid. Just more contact for the championship leader under the cosh massively on this opening lap.
They got to be careful there at DNF, which certainly spell a disaster for his championship hopes. But let's not forget, Timo Marek starting on the soft tyre. He's the only driver on the entire grid to do so. Everybody else opting for either the hards or the mediums to see this stint through. But I'll tell you what, those soft tyres absolutely working a dream from this race start as the Australian finds himself in 3rd place. He's just behind Karim 70. Of course, his teammate who still leads this race. I wonder if we'll see any team orders start to get involved, as Meraki and himself have almost switched positions from this race start, I've noted. Timo Marek up in 3rd and Jake's all the way down in 7th.
Be second fairly shortly, because at this stage it looked like Ben, driving a completely different race car to everybody else, got off the grid like an absolute rocket ship up into 5th position, then made the most of the kerfuffles going on in front of him. His teammate's going to drop down 1 spot though, because there goes Kareem 17, Ben's former title rival back in season number 9, taking the lead off the hands of Formula Kai, who's now going to be vulnerable to this former 2-time champion holding 3rd.
Has an opportunity to let Kai and Karim fight. They make their way in towards turn 8, the long left-hander. He can just sit there, be patient, play the waiting game, but he'll want to try and use the soft tyres to his advantage. We watch as Meraki is still battling out with grid jokes. Can't quite seem to clear the demon of the Aston Martin as they make their way through turn 12 now. An opportunity to look towards the insides and go underwards the hotel bridge. Meraki by the final, almost at the final time, whilst he manages to dispatch the Aston Martin. But my question here is how long? I think grid jokes won't be long until he's right back onto the rear of that Sauber.
Was a really good move, really clinical. Needs to try and pick up these places that he lost on the opening tour. Meraki back into 6th position. Now just has to cling onto the coattails of his teammate for the next couple of laps. Keep himself within the 1 second window of that lead DRS train and not leave himself knee deep in it, as Ben found himself in the sprint race after all of the contact that he picked up in the opening couple of laps. Gridjoke's not looking particularly quick here, and I think he's looking more behind him rather than through the halo. Infratic, who's looking fairly solid as well in position number 8. Does Jake have the DRS? No. I think that's courtesy of his teammates being tucked right up underneath the rear wing of Vince.
Yeah, Razin Jai, if anything, has hindered, yet instead of helped his teammates. We look here, Karim 17 on a dive down the inside of Formula Kai in towards turn number 6. Fabio goes for a dive on our championship leader Meraki as well, and he manages to make the move, stick the scarlet red prancing horse at the turn of lap number 3. Manages to make his way into 6th place. Here comes Kai though. Can Timo Marek try and follow them through 3 wide in towards turn number 8, and Ben takes the lead of the race, and now the championship chance is well and truly in his favour.
That's how you get down the inside of turn number 9, everybody. Clinical, absolutely picture book perfect from Tim Marek, stealing 2 places, getting ahead of Kai, getting ahead of Kareem, and now can try and make the most of what is left of those soft compound tyres. Razin Chai, the rear of that Sauber car looks a bit unstable, but he was also desperate to try and put one over on Vince. Down into turn number 11, couldn't quite make the move stick. Then it's a further 2.5 back to Jake, who has got himself back into P6, but is comfortably outside the 1 second window of the group in front.
The more Fabio and Jake battle here at the moment, the bigger the gap is up to Meraki's teammate up in 5th place. The gap was at 1.8 seconds, so really advantageous for Timo Marek here, who stands leading this front train of 5 cars. They try to peel away from the rest of the pack, but Jake is starting to burn some battery, pull himself back into DRS range, because that is going to be absolutely critical at this stage. And here comes the weaving all the way over to the left-hand side. Here's Timo Marek, feints to the right, sticks to the left-hand side. Which way will Kai go? He goes to the left-hand side in towards turn 6. Brakes considerably later. The Australian leaves him enough room. Looks for the double switchback as they run on towards the double DRS zone. This will potentially allow Timo Marek to try and come back in towards turn 8. An opportunity could present itself. Looks to the inside, and I wonder if the Haas's are starting to work together here. It certainly is looking like that.
Easy pickings there to get that place back, and Kai now under pressure a little bit from Kareem 17. Meraki under pressure as well, because Infratic trying to put one over and get back ahead of that Sauber car side by side down to turn number 12. I think Fabio is just going to be run out of road on the outside. Wasn't given the time of day, and Jake able to hold firm in position number 6, but you can see that already in the live standings, as things stand, 4 points is the difference that Tim Mardik has over Meraki. How quickly things can change.
Absolutely right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We've still got 54 laps of racing here at Yas Marina, and who knows, we might see a late race safety car. As it is well-known tradition in the Creator Series, not by luck but by judgment. But Team Mardik leads from Formula Kai from Karim 17, Danko Vince in 4th, with Razin Chai in 5th place. Meraki is 6th, Fabio's in 7th, Grid Jones 8th, Lottie Nova and Safzo rounding out your top 10 at the moment. We head about halfway through the 5th lap of 58. Team Mardik will of course lose DRS to Formula Kai's teammate behind, but we've seen they are starting to potentially work as a pairing. Oh, the house couple. Ben just slips into the slipstream behind. Karim 17 looks for a move in towards turn 6, side by side. Doesn't look like Ben's going to try and fight this very hard, but does leave enough racing room. Ben can't afford to try and get caught up in amongst this drama. He lets Karim 17 go, but now we'll get that dose of DRS down towards turn number 8 once again.
Well, he really congested. Big DRS train down into P15 of Ryan L83, and drivers following very closely. 3 tenths, 2 tenths, 4 tenths per second. Running line astern. Scotty Designs up into 13th, getting ahead of Chappers. Tom Beener up into P16, the Season 3 champion, disposes of his teammate of the 2 Red Bull cars 6 seconds off the back of the pack. As we say that, I think Super Noodle Bagel having something to say about it, battling away with Tom, who's lost out again to Chesnord Gaming. Look at this train of cars in the final sector, though. Kai from Kareem, from Tim at Mardik. For Ben, just going to try and stay in contention now. Those soft tyres, you would imagine, are going to be worse than the mediums that the runners and riders have bolted on around.
Yeah, Tom being the first driver as well to pick up a penalty. 3 seconds for multiple track limits violations. Let's have a look around. A few other drivers on warnings as well. The Aston Martin of Grid Jokes on 2 warnings. Karim 17 also on 2 warnings. Up and down the field, a whole host of other singular warnings handed out to drivers. Meraki on 1, Team Mardik on 0. As it stands as well, just keeping updated on how the track limits warnings are developing. Barely a 10th into this race. And of course we are expecting the soft tyres to probably pit around lap 9, lap 10, whereas the mediums will be able to go considerably more. We watch Razin Chai as he sends a move down the inside of that guy Vince. Again, enough racing room given between the 2 drivers. It's fair racing here between the Kicksauer and the Alpine as they go in a bit of a drag race down towards the 8th corner on this circuit.
It's been a couple of laps coming. Raz has tried it once, twice, now thrice, and does get up into P4, and his teammate follows in the footsteps of the Season 5 champion. Meraki opportunistic round the outside, picking the pocket of that guy Vince. The Alpine dropping down a couple of spots into P6 as those hard tyres on the championship leaders car just starting to work and feel that little bit nicer.
Yeah, we saw a race start. They were struggling to fire up in the nth degree. They couldn't get any temperature in the hard tyres, but now 6 laps in, it seems they have fired up to a workable and usable state, and we'll see those hard tyre runners start to try and make progress. The likes of Meraki, Safso, we got 2 key Scotty Designs, by the way, running slightly further down the order. And of course the drivers, Chesnoid, Ryan, Super Noodle Bagel and Tom as well, all of those opting for the hard tyres from race start. We've got Mr. Man Gaming 43 coming in the Twitch chat. Absolute cinema. And you know what? I agree with you, sir.
100%. Hope you've enjoyed the opening 6 laps of this Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, because the glove's well and truly off for the championship battle. We thought it was heading one way, then it's turned completely on its head, and now we're starting to see the effects of the tyre wear for the former 2-time champ Tim at Mardik. Those soft tyres hanging on okay, and actually it's Razin Chai that's fallen away because he's dropped out of the 1 second window, and that could be the freest of free opportunities for Jake, not to overtake him into the chicane, but get past him definitely into turn number 9, and then have the track position through the final sector.
That detection point comes at the exit of turn 7, so Razin will have been out of the detection points. They make their way down towards turn number 8. Meraki's alongside, gets the move done as they try and swoop round that elongated left-hander. The Sabers are side by side. Surely they don't want to see this go wrong. A little bit of wheel banging between the 2 of them. Neither of them want to give this up. Meraki's ahead of the apex as they head through the right-hander of turn number 12. Still side by side. They run, neither of them wanting to give an inch yet a month between either. And Razin Chai, who knows what is on the line for his teammate here this afternoon, is not letting it go easy as he swoops around the outside, retains 4th place, and in doing so holds back Meraki by another half a second or so.
Teammate is a very loose term here. They're driving the same cars, but let me tell you, they are not mates in this scenario. Tim Miles could be hoping that he can try and work with Formula Kai. Razin making it clear he's not just going to hand 4th place on a silver platter for Jake to lap up, but big slide there for Razin, clearly struggling with those rear tyres absolutely all over the place. Jake's going to have to go the long way around into turn number 5. Datkovic's nipping at the heels of the 2 lime green cars as well. Razin really getting his elbows out. Jake going the long way around, but he has managed to force his way through for the time being as they're eyeball to eyeball on the run down to the chicane.
I thought Razin had DRS. It's Meraki that got DRS on this run down towards turn 6, but he'll get it on the second opportunity. We haven't got audio on the team radios, but I can almost certainly hear the tone in which Meraki said that words that came across our screen. We saw Datko, Vincent and Fabio starting to scrap it out, but Razin Chai now with his rear wing open down towards turn 8 once again. Meraki left somewhat helpless as now 3 seconds up the road as his championship rival. It's so close in amongst all of our drivers. It's going this way. That Fabio, oh my goodness, almost losing the car with that elongated left hander. The wind must be causing some trouble for some drivers because you started to see those little corrections coming in.
100% really struggling with that Ferrari. We've seen Razin as well struggling with the rear of that Sauber car. Something looks a little bit unstable at the back of a couple of these F1 cars. Looking at the championship picture, only 2 points the difference between 3rd and 4th. So at the moment, Jake will still be sitting pretty with a 7-point advantage over Ben. Ben, though, going really strongly, has to be said, on those soft compound tyres. Thought they would have been significantly past their best after 9 laps, but hanging on to his teammate and Cream 17, and they are going at a fairly decent lick out in front.
They absolutely are. It's no love lost between the two Haas cars. And of course, Karim 70 involved in this fight as well, as they run for the first DRS straight down towards turn 6 once again, one of the prime overtaking spots on this circuit, and equally down into turn 8 we all know and love from 2021. If anyone wants to bring up maybe some sour grapes of memories, Formula Kai moves into the lead now on lap 9. Karim 17 just plays a bit of a back marker on Razin Chai, not letting his teammate or team acquaintance, as we may want to try and call him for the rest of the afternoon, try and let any lava lost. But this will allow a double dose of DRS for Razin Chai now as they run in towards turn number 8. He's not letting anything go. He wants to try and bring the fight to Meraki. The opening for that looks towards the inside, but just had the door closed in front of him.
Jake, I can tell you will not be enjoying this. 2.5 seconds the gap to the trio in front, under constant pressure from his team, who again thinks about it down the inside into turn 12. Hovering back in P5 is Razin. Emphatic, we know if he senses an opportunity, if he smells blood for one of these Saubers that currently are engaged in civil war, he'll try and pick up as many places as he possibly can. Vince has gone backwards a little bit in the last few laps down to P7, but you've still got grid jokes. Lolanobu, we haven't mentioned our Italian stallion, let started from the back of the pack, already finds himself nestled inside the top 10.
Right, just again to concern some comments that are sitting across the chat, and someone said I feel like Tom is underperforming today. You're absolutely right. That is because he's on controller this afternoon, so he's not in his very expensive sim rig that looks beautiful, has motion. No. He's decided to race on controller for this afternoon. Beats me as to why. I think he just wanted to have a bit of fun with some friends for the afternoon, which is exactly what the Create Series is all about. Let us remind you of that. We see him trying to battle out with Lens the Goat here. It's a good scrap, actually. He's doing well on controller.
Doing well at a push, being in 18th with a 3-second penalty after 10 laps, 6 seconds off the back of the group in front. Maybe we have different definitions of how well this is going. But yeah, obviously I think I speak for everyone saying lovely to see Tom back. And you can bet your bottom dollar in the voice chat, he's having an absolute whale of a time, as is Formula Kai, who retakes the lead from Cream 17. And Ben, I think, is just starting to fall away on those soft compound tyres now. We know he's got a few fuel issues, that he was trying to just get back a little bit of fuel in that train behind Kai and Cream. But now it's the tyre wear that's starting to kick in. Those soft tyres will be very much second best.
Stat comes on our screen. Tom the Bomb is back, not full time, he's on controller, and as the old phrase goes, it's not about the points you score, but it's about the friends you make along the way. And for Tom, I think almost certainly replicates that as we see him dive down the inside of Lens the Goat, who had DRS in towards turn 8, pulling them off into the runoff zone, and that has saved both of their cars. And again, contact between the two as they come back onto the circuit. I'm almost certain there'll be a few laughs in the voice chat here this afternoon as Tom are just reminiscing of days of old.
Ben soldiering on, by the way, but he has been caught by the two Sauber cars who have settled their differences for the time being. A safety car there would have been absolutely perfect timing for the former two-time champion, our Australian ace, currently in third, but needs another 7-point swing if he's going to take the championship off Meraki's hands. And you just have to think now, how long is Ben going to try and sit this out? Take the pain at this stage of the Grand Prix.
Absolutely right. outside. Just again, if this goes to championship countback, we are exploring every and all possibilities. At the moment, I believe Meraki wins as they are standing third and fourth, but if it goes to countback, it would be a Team of Malik victory, as he scored second place in Las Vegas last time out, and Jake has scored 0 second places, assuming he doesn't score one today. They are tied on race wins, so it goes back to podiums, which is fascinating.
Got so much more grip, so much more confidence, so much more pace at this stage. The soft tyres, Ben pretty much running on the rims of those Pirellis, but he is able to hold track position into the final sector. I say that sliding slightly wide through turn 12. Jake's going to try the up and under, but there wasn't quite the space down the inside into 14 to try and pit the pocket of his main championship rival. Will Ben seek refuge in the pits? No, he's going to stay out once again, just trying to open the gap maybe between this group and the two out in front to make sure Jake cannot win this race. The trade-off is, of course, if Ben can win this race, that would be ideal for his championship push. Down the inside, both Saubers in there. Razin sends it to the inside. Is Jake going to fall off the circuit? Just about keeps it pinned around the outside, and all of that goings on. Razin's just had the Ferrari in frantic form. My teammates, of course, have had a few comings and goings over the years. Now side by side into 4.
Yeah, Fabio trying to pinch the pocket of Razin Chai as they run down in towards turn number 5 here. It's going to be incredibly close. Team Meraki relegated down to 4th place, but this will benefit him and give him DRS down towards turn 6 on Meraki. Actually, that stands slightly corrected, the DRS zone or activation zone before Jake made that move. So Team Meraki will be DRS-less in towards turn 6, but will get the benefit in towards turn number 8. And Jake now has a decision to make. Does he try and push up towards the likes of Karim 70 and Formula Kai, or does he engage in this mortal combat that we're going to see with Timo Marek as this begins to develop?
Oh, he's down the inside there into turn number 9. He's not going to fight this very, very hard, Jake, around the outside, because Ben was steamrolling in there, picking 3rd place up again. And now on the outside is Jake, going to be the outside of 11 if he can try and make it work. 5 seconds. Now the gap to the group in front. Ben defending so hard, working really, really hard. They're probably saving a little bit of fuel in this as well. Those soft tyres absolutely gone. We're going to get a live read, see if he comes into the pits here. Does he try and get shot of those soft tyres? No, he continues on for another lap, and I think Jake is not going to be enjoying this one.
He knows he's getting DRS. He knows he's still benefiting from the slipstream from the Sauber as he continues to pass, as he benefits from Jake's mistakes. Vince and Lolinoba, both of those into the pits. Hopefully Lolinoba has a better pit exit than he did in qualifying as Ben comes over the radio. Lovely stuff, although I butchered the Australian accent. Be sure can get the picture at home. Jake not wanting to go for a move in towards turn 5 this time around. He knows the DRS will assist him in towards turn 6, but look at the train of cars following him as they make their way down the first of the DRS straights on this circuit. Jake now comes over team radio. Don't think he realises how much he's ruining his race. Well, it seems to be going the way of the Australian at the moment. Now Jake moves in towards turn 6, but he compromises his exit into the corner. Compromises his exit almost certainly. And Ben will now get a run of DRS down towards turn 8 again. The Australian planning corner ahead of what Jake seems to be possibly able to do at the moment. To the outside goes the Haas car. He'll swing it around and regains 3rd place again.
I don't know if Jake is loving or hating this. Ben dropping 6 seconds to the duo in front, but holding Jake, Fabio, Razin, Gridjoke, Safso and et al. Back. If there's a safety car now, Ben's going to be absolutely loving life. He can recatch the duo in front and get a fresh set of boots on. We get the reveal again. Is he going to stay out for another lap? We'll see. We've got 2 more corners for him to negotiate on those soft tyres that are, well, almost 6 feet under at this stage. Stays out once again. He's going to continue to ride it out and try and take the pain at this stage of the Grand Prix. I've been asked why I'm calling Ben the former 2-time champion. It is because he's not the current champion, of course.
Oh, we've got a new person who's a new contender has entered the lobby. This could be interesting. They're getting a great view of this show. They've paid for they've paid for general admission tickets. They managed to nab themselves a grandstand here as we see the battle between Ben and Jake continuing to evolve into turn 5 again. And all this is going to do is burn up the battery of both our championship contenders. In Fratic now trying to get a nose down the inside of the kick Sauber, but of course not going to be able to try and benefit as they try and run down towards turn 6 and 7. Fabio down to the left hand side, blocks Jake from trying to make a move on the Australian, who also is blocked in at the front by Tim Amadi. Bit of a wobble as Razin Chai now comes for an attack on Meraki, and it's Ben that drops down to 4th place. Fabio takes 3rd. Razin Chai still on the rear of his teammate. It's all going, well, higgledy-piggledy for Meraki at the moment. He can't quite keep the car in the right place.
8 seconds now the gap, and you wonder, is this the time that Ben comes into the pits, or does he now let Fabio drive off into the sunset. Great driving. It was a bit of a kerfuffle, wasn't it, down into the 6-7 chicane. Ben is going to hold track position into the final sector. As wide goes Razin Chai, misses his braking zone by about 4 weeks there and off the circuit, dropping behind the Season 1 champion Safso. The two Saubs have been getting very much stuck in the first 15 laps of this race, but finally there's a car between them. And once again, Ben continues to soldier on. Razin dropping places. I think he's coming into the pits, and yes, he is.
So we've got Razin into the pits before we've had a soft tyre runner into the pits. Ben is somehow whispering some dark arts to these tyres to get them to go longer than a set of the medium tyres. But Razin knows that he's not going to get anywhere if he sat fighting in this train. And I wonder if that's wise words that Meraki could be using at the moment as we watch on board again with the Australian just behind Infratic now. So the Australian's going to get a tow down this straight that he formerly has allowed Meraki past on multiple times of asking. Of course, last time we raced here, it was a Razin Chai victory. Meraki came second, Gillen got third. So both of our drivers know how this works. Ben gets past, Meraki gets past. Is he going to look for a move in towards turn 6? No, thinks better of it this time around. A little bit of contact from the front of the kick-out to the rear of the house cover. This now leaves Ben without DRS. And we'll have the opportunity for both Meraki and Infratic to try and make a move in towards that elongated left-hander at the end of the straight. But neither of them want to make a move. Meraki tries to hang on as Infratic tries to send a move around the outside. The prancing horse well and truly prancing this afternoon.
Ben must be running low wings, and Jake almost gobbled up by Fabio there. He's still fighting it out around the outside into turn number 12. Is he going to be given the timer down the outside? Jake slamming that door in the face of Infratic. Safso's cruised up to the back of this group as well. Then there's a 2.5 gap back to the second Ferrari of Scotty Designs, by the way. What does Ben do on this occasion? He continues on for another lap. Let's keep it going. 16 on the board now for those soft compound tyres. Surely we're getting close to puncture territory at this stage.
Oh, he's come over team radio. Let's see what he has to say. He can't overtake me. What? I think there's an element of surprise and awe in that voice at the moment. Again, no audio, but you can imagine what Ben is saying in that cockpit at the moment. I think he's astonished that Meraki's not able to not only not make the overtake, but not make it 6. We go into turn 5 once again. Now we look from Fratic down the inside of Meraki, sends it deep, and manages to get the move done. Meraki now left a little bit vulnerable as they'll chase down towards turn 6 for the 16th time in this race. It seems to be chopping and changing left, right and centre because nobody quite knows which way they're going to go. Fabio now goes later on the brakes, tries to get the better of Timo Malik. Does Meraki try the same thing? No, but he might try the double switch back in towards turn 7. The King Sauber has to get good traction here, but the DRS will lend itself to Timo Malik as they run down towards turn 8. They're both with the rear wings open. Fabio now left a little bit stuck in the mud as they try and run down towards the final few corners. And once again, Timo Malik holding on for dear life as Meraki sends it wide and can't quite get the better of the Australian.
Still joined at the hip, still an opportunity if Jake is brave into turn number 12. Ben throws the defensive shape. He's going to be sliding out wide because he's got absolutely no rubber left on the rims of those soft Pirelli tyres. Oh, we're down the inside into 14. There's just about enough space for the champion leader, but again, Ben trying to rebuff this assault for as long as he possibly can. Jake is around the outside, and now we see the former two-time champion diving into the pits, but he's got a 3-second penalty. We know that's something that can happen on the pit lane entry, and Timo Malik has fallen foul of it. He's not the first, and he's definitely not going to be the last this evening.
Well, here we go, and I think, yeah, as Alex said, we're well aware of what can happen at pit entry. It was an unfortunate set of circumstances for Timo Malik, starting to write a new book, a series of unfortunate events. He's renamed himself to Lemony Snicket, and we have got confirmation that will not be removed no matter what happens throughout the course of this race. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but one that will not be taken off the end race time. So if we see a late race safety car, which has been a Timo Malik favourite, it may, well, hinder him in the long run as he gets out just ahead of Chesnoid Gaming. Notably, look at the gap from Timo Malik all the way back to Razin Chai, who is all the way back, well, about 3 or 4 cars length.
Yeah, I think Razin timed it bad. He got spat out of the pits right into this massive queue of cars. Ben's filtered out right at the front of it, used the DRS to get past Chappers, and then charge off into the distance, making the most of the fresh air that he's got in front of him. Scotty Designs debating 14th and 15th with Chesnoid Gaming. The Ferrari has stopped, the Red Bull Racing car hasn't, and Scotty does put Ches into his back pocket and picks up that 14th spot. Now, how close can Ben get with the helping hand of DRS here on the run down into turn number 9? Definitely running low wings. He's gaining all the time. He is going to send it down the inside of Chappers. The Mercedes sees it coming, tries to hang it out around the outside. Two-time champ versus a driver yet to finish on the podium in the Creator Series. And it is Timo Malik that soldiers on through up into P11.
Absolutely. Chappers only on one lap older set of tyres than Timo Malik. We see grid jokes in towards the pits, and Formula Kai and Karim well and truly in the distance, 11.5 seconds clear of our championship leader of Meraki. That's an astonishing gap, and almost could build up a pit stops gap should we see a safety car or a virtual safety car being deployed here at the Yas Marina circuit. It's about a 38% chance in real life. If you want to try and calculate the safety car percentage in the Creator Series race, it's probably about 150% in a Creator Series lobby. For the time being, Team Arctic sits 10th, 7 places down from his championship rival.
Blink and you'll miss it stuff, isn't it? The first 18 laps of this season 11 finale. Remember, Jake versus Timo Malik in the championship. We've seen games before. It's not new seeing games at Abu Dhabi. 2016, 2021, multiple other scenarios that we could throw out there as well. And we're seeing it here in 2025 between Ben and Jake. That is why there's 12 seconds between Kai and Karim out in front, and then that secondary chasing peloton of Infratic, Meraki, Safso and Tuki, with Ryan Elliott 3 a further 4 seconds back.
Still a long race, of course, opportunities for all of our drivers to pick up penalties, even on that pit approach. We know the 2-stop is probably going to be the preferable strategy for most of our drivers here today, so they may have to chance it a couple of times at that pit entry, and you never know, Racing Troll could be feeling a little bit, what's the word, a little bit spicy, trying to hand out penalties left, right and centre. But for the time being, Meraki's, marches on here on lap 19 of 58 as Ryan 83 becomes the next driver to pick up a 3-second penalty for track limits. That now makes 4 across the board as Tom has an almighty 9 to his neck. If he can look down in 20th place, he's not having the best of returns, but I'm sure he is enjoying it nonetheless. All of our drivers just proceeding through there. Most of them have made their pit stops all the way from 8th place down to, down to 15th place, the likes of Grid Jokes. Just making sure they've done at least one pit stop already, at least another one to come, I think.
100%. And it is interesting, Ben hasn't managed to shake Chappers off his tail, and he is 9 seconds behind Datkovitz, who has already stopped in this race, as has Lolinova. Those two effectively 9 seconds ahead of the former 2-time champion. So just a little bit of work that Ben needs to do to catch back up to them. As you can see Ryan there, struggling for traction coming through the chicane in that Papaya McLaren car. Then he's got Lolly and Vince on the fresh set of boots. Hard tyres for the RB car, medium tyres for the Alpine of Vince, who's locking himself into at least a 2-stop race because he started on that yellow stripe medium tyre as well. Jake on the hards has managed to shake Infratic off his tail, 2.5 separating 3rd and 4th, with Fabio left to deal with the Season 1 champion in Safso. And here's Razin Chai, who is just a little bit stuck at the moment. He's surrounded by drivers who are on similarly aged tyres. Ben on 2-lap-old, Chappers 5, Concept 7-3, Razin here on 4. He needs to try and pick off the drivers one by one without a significant tyre offset.
You're absolutely right. He went for that earlier undercut to try and get out of the original train when he was battling his teammate, battling Fabio, battling Timo Marduk. And actually all he's done is he's not kept an eye on where that pit stop was going to bring him out. It's brought him out right in the middle of another train as they make their way through the final corner to start on to lap 20. We're approaching, or just crossed over the threshold of 1/3 race distance. Razachai's got some work to do if he wants to try and catch back up, because Timo Marduk is roughly where he would have been sitting if he'd probably made a little bit of a better pit strategy in the earlier stages. But still a lot of drivers to pit, still a lot of drivers to enter in to pit road. Safso's got the better of Fabio though. This is a resurgence from our Season 1 champion. And we're starting to see a little bit of a comeback from Safso. We also see Lolly Nova getting the better of Ryan L83 and Karim 70 as well, taking the lead of the race off of the hands of Formula Kai as they make their way through turn number 8 in towards the 3rd and final sector. I'm sure in the next few moments' time we'll be able to throw it over to Carl and clip the corner. Not quite yet. We'll wait for confirmation that he is ready and able to receive and have a chat with us. But for the time being, we'll keep an eye on how it develops over here. We've got confirmation from Carl, who's in the corner. Carl, what can you tell us?
Well, well, well. What a 20 laps it's been. And long may it continue. Well, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, we have this start. Soft compound tyres. I mean, you can probably tell where this is going already. Ben immediately jumps Safso off the line. 2 compound softer was bound to happen. Gets down the inside of Razin, and then he takes advantage of this next corner. So, biffs the back of Karim slightly, just a little bit friendly there. But it's the send down the inside here from Karim 17. As well, Jake said he had nowhere to go. He probably didn't have anywhere to go, but Karim nonetheless moving up to P2. Ben uses the momentum marvellously, moves up to P4, just weaving about in the straight. He said it was a hello to Jake, so that tells you the story there, but gets Vince later. A cracking start from the Australian. Meraki, on the other hand, his POV of the triple send or the triple wide into the left-hander broke late enough as it was. Said to Vince, he apologised to Vince, saying that Karim was just absolutely sending it, but correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I mean, he didn't cover himself in glory either, to be honest with you. He didn't really play the self-preservation game. Lucky to not get damaged, but regardless, still in this race, running in the podium places at the moment, and enough, crucially, for the championship. We then have Razin versus Meraki. God, these two are no holds barred, the Sauber drivers. Absolutely immense stuff. No love whatsoever. Of course, not a Constructors' Championship, so why would there be a reason to leave any quarter? Meraki on the inside, Razin with no battery at all, just sends it round the outside instead. An absolutely titanic tussle between those two on the road, through under the hotel section, and I tell you what, that is a 5-star overtake if I've ever seen one. A 5-star battle, completed by Razin Chai into the penultimate corner. But of course, the big one, lap number 16. Ben said he was going to stay out as long as it took for Meraki to overtake him. On lap number 16, finally he managed to get past. Ben said, into the pits we go. Doesn't cut the white line, nothing auspicious or anything like that. But as soon as he crosses that horizontal line, it's a 3-second time penalty. And, well, I would hate for the championship to be decided purely on an in-game penalty. But for now, at least, the ball is in Meraki's court.
Well, that it absolutely is. Thank you very much, Carl, as always, giving us that ear to the ground that we sometimes aren't able to see up here from the commentary box. So you're back with myself, Tom Knight and Tom Wilkinson, for the rest of the race commentary. And it is starting to unfold in a way that we weren't necessarily expecting, is it, Tom?
No, Tim Malik is currently the fastest man out on the track as things stand. As you can see, the drivers dueling behind Concept 7, battling away with Razin Chai. Razin's just been balked in this traffic. Ben came out right at the front of the train. Razin came out of the back. He's had to work his way through, and now he's 6 seconds off the back of the former 2-time champion. The Australian ace that is charging, taking 3 seconds out of Lonanova and out of Datka Vince, who's battling away with Infratic, the Scarlet Ferrari, yet to stop in this race. They dropped 5 seconds to Meraki, who's going on about his business very, very solidly so far. 21 laps on his hard compound tyres, faster than the leaders by about a couple of tenths every single lap, just eking that gap back down.
Formula Kai still leads as well, who's had an impressive run so far. Started from the front of the course, was the fastest man in qualifying. Britain 17 started from the second row, third place, and he's managed to jump up towards second, and Meraki lost 1 position in the grand totality after everything was said and done. Now finds himself in third from second. The most impressive drive that I want to talk about, Lolly Noba, after getting disqualified in qualifying, now sits in fourth. He's gained 16 positions, Tom.
Net race leader. He's managed to get ahead of Vince. He's obviously undercut Ben as well, as he was staying out for a long old time on those ailing soft compound tyres. He's now 2 seconds ahead of Vince. We said Lolly has been the form horse coming into this season finale. He's been so quick in the second half of the season. 2 wins out of the last 4 races. He's continually taking chunks and chunks of time out of the leading trio.
Absolutely right. Tom gets another 3 seconds to add to his totality and his total for the end. It's, I believe, still on 9. Oh, it's now 12 seconds with 15 warnings to his name. And the yellow flag being flown in the final sector. I believe that is the Red Bull of Tom, just proceeding slowly as they make their way through. We ride on board with Lolly Nova, of course, your Nets race leader at the moment. The car behind him, Datka Vince, also has pit slightly earlier on lap 12. So they went 4 laps shorter on a set of medium tyres than Ben did on a set of the soft tyres. We've seen Razin Chai now starting to make moves on his hard set of tyres. He's opted to go into them after running the mediums for 14 laps because they've started to fire up now. He's got some heat and some temperature into them and can start to make his way towards Timo Mardik, who still has that 3-second penalty looming over his head.
3-second penalty or not, he's absolutely rapid at this stage of the race. Just took a couple of laps to bring those hard compound tyres in, but he's flying comfortably, the fastest man out there as things stand, as Razin does finally dispose, like you said, of Concept 7, can try and chase down the former 2-time champion, the former Season 5 champion, Razin Chai, who at one stage was looking like he was going to be a championship protagonist, but missing the race a week ago after winning in Suzuka put him out of the equation, leaving us now with just Tim McMahon versus Meraki. The gap between the two protagonists, Ben has obviously already stopped, Jake has stayed out, 8 seconds the gap between them. Ben has managed in 7 laps to take, about 15 seconds out of the Sauber.
Starting to make somewhat inroads on the cars in front of him, but I don't think it's going to be enough to try and get within DRS in the appropriate amount of time. You can see the fastest lap on the screen, at least for half a second or so, as it was, I believe, Jess Ball that holds the fastest lap at the moment. I think our data might be slightly wrong, because somehow she set a 1:23.5.
Wow,
Razin Chai there. Razin Chai with a 1:26.409 was the official fastest lap according to the game files. I'm assuming Jess Ball's lap was an invalid one where she crossed into the pits, probably slightly presumptuously. That would be my only assumption at the moment. Meraki now, a championship leader, peels into pit road. The question marks will surround where he's going to come out.
Interesting. Didn't expect him to come in that early. He's pitted first compared to the drivers in front who are on the medium tyre. So you'd have expected Jake to go slightly longer. And he's going to put himself a fair way behind Ben, but we've seen the advantage that Ben has managed to pick up on the fresh set of boots, taking nearly 20 seconds out of Jake since Ben pitted 8 or 9 laps ago. It's been consistently 2 seconds a lap faster, consistently the fastest driver out on circuit, though. Concept 7 and Razin Chai now both matching the lap times set by our Australian ace, as Ben's cruised up to the back of his former teammate in Fratic. I think he's going to fly past down the back straight, and does indeed move back up inside the top 5. He's only 5 seconds off the back of Lolly, who is at this stage still the net race leader, 12 seconds off the lead.
I do wonder if anyone told Meraki that we're not in Qatar this weekend. You can take the tyres longer than 25 laps after he pits exactly on lap 25 for a fresh set of the medium tyres. Again, almost committing to that 2-stop strategy to see out this race, as will pretty much the entirety of the grid. But it's so interesting to note that so many drivers here have opted to take the harder tyres at a lesser distance than Kai and Karim are taking the mediums at the moment. They've both run 24 laps on a set of the mediums, as has in Fratic, whereas some drivers pit as early as lap 16 on a set of the hards. I'm looking at you, Mr. Scotty Designs, by the way, who's running in 9th place at the moment. So the strategies are really up and down the field. I think a lot of drivers are maybe taking influence from the days of realistic performance where some cars were just worse on tyre wear.
I think Jake's also realised he's been significantly undercut by a lot of drivers. Safety car is out. That would be absolutely terrible timing for the championship leader as Safso pings in a purple lap time, 26.1, significantly faster than what we've seen so far. Should take the 1:23 lap time, the electric lap from Jess Ball, out of that extra point that will be handed out. Jake cruising up to the back of Chappers, but in front of the Mercedes, albeit 3.5 seconds in front. A big train of cars from Concept 7 down to Tuku. The championship leader is going to have to work his way through.
He absolutely is indeed. I wonder how many drivers will try and block his path. I didn't quite mean literally Chappers, who turned in for the corner, as Meraki, I think, was almost a day late and $1 short. I think the Bayless will certainly be at his door for that one as he turns in towards the 5th corner, and we'll get the DRS down towards turn 6. But Meraki making a decision incredibly late to go for that move, to the point where I think Chappers had almost certainly decided on turning into the corner already. Safso comes over the team radio. He's sat in 11th place at the moment. Make that 10th place. He tries to make the move on grid. Joe saying pace is good. Well, Safso, you know what? I agree with you. Your pace is always good.
Season 1 champ going very nicely. But yeah, that wasn't a move from Jake where he's thinking that he's got a championship to win, was it? Very late. Day late and $1 short. I think he came from his overdraft. That's how short of money he was, charging down the inside into turn number 5 there, but has got himself some track position as Cream 7T electing a lap earlier, maybe a couple of laps earlier than Formula Kai, to get shot of his medium compound tyres, and you would assume take the hards to the end of the race. Yeah,
surely this will be Kai and Karim banking on that one-stop strategy. It'll be an interesting one to see how it plays out in totality. But look at the gaggle of cars in front, I believe led by the Red Bull. That's going to be, Karim 70 as they peel their way out. I'm trying to figure out who's in the lead of that train. I think there might be Tom leading this battle. Here's a lap down. But it will be Concept 7 at the front of that train, just behind the likes of the Red Bull that has almost certainly been out to see himself for Chestnut Gaming, as they make their way through turn number 5. But Karim 17 comes out in 6th place, which is interesting considering how long they're able to take those tyres. That's all thanks to Ben's defending in the earlier stints here. Razin Chai making moves past Concept 7. Will he try for a lunge here on Karim 17, who won't have got the tyres warmed up to an nth degree yet? But no, he plays the patient game. Sat in 7th place as Sato makes away past his good friend Scotty Designs, or does he? As Scotty tries to fight the move back there, wheel to wheel as they run down towards turn number 8. A fantastic scrap between the two of them. Sato now makes the move past our Season 1 champion, revitalised in Abu Dhabi.
And all of this scrapping, it could be a friend or it could be a foe of Meraki. If he's careful, he can pick his way through the traffic and just try and make up for the mistakes and the battles and pick up the scraps and the pieces of what goes on in front of him. But if they're fighting so hard, you can see Tukey tried it around the outside of the grid jokes, wasn't given the time of day and was run out onto the curb. Jake could lose a significant amount of time when he is comfortably faster than Ben at this stage on those brand new mediums by the tune of about a second a lap.
Tell you what, Kai's in pretty much slap bang at half race distance as we head on towards lap 28, 1 lap down from half race distance to be exact. Razin Chai, I think, going for a move on Formula Kai as they peel out the pit road. Karim over the team radio. Most of these guys do stopping, in my opinion. Don't need to be Sherlock to try and figure that one out, but it will be interesting to see how it does work out. Kai out of the pit lane immediately on pace in towards turn 5 to the inside of Razin Chai, who looks potentially for the switch back. He's going to sit behind for the time being and bask in that slipstream that they'll get on the run down towards turn 6 with DRS. Also beneficial from Karim 7T in front now. Everybody has started to make their first moves. Everybody on this field, bar one driver in Super Noodle Bagel, has made their first pit stop in this race, and for some of them, it will be their last, Tom Wilkinson.
Certainly will, and look at in front, two drivers that you think will be going for the two-stop. Tim Marduk is now hot on the heels of the Italian stallion. We were at stages questioning the strategy from Ben, backing everybody up behind, trying to take those soft tyres as long as he possibly could. He's now got himself in a very, very strong position, with Meraki hobbled being in a big train of cars in the lower reaches of the top 10. Still a big opportunity here for Ben to make hay while his main rival is just a little bit stuck.
Yeah, this is an opportunity to try and work his way through. He'll have to maybe try and work Lottie Nova. Of course, Lottie Nova literally has gone last to first at the moment. We are expecting a whole host of pit stops still to come for a number of drivers, and who knows what could cause a safety car or who could cause a safety car as we get towards the end of this race. But we have seen everybody do their first pit stops, bar two drivers, the likes of Tom and Super Noodle Bagel. I think for the moment we're going to throw it over to our presenter and Mr. Alex Heron, see what he's been seeing behind the scenes.
Well, thank you very much, TK. And yes, it has certainly been a very exciting open to this Grand Prix. 30 laps in, and we've seen all sorts of action as Meraki once again making another move up to P9. But yes, from the start of the Grand Prix, we saw Ben go very aggressive on his set of soft tyres, which I think a lot of people were questioning, considering the wear in this year's F1 game and just Abu Dhabi in general. But he made it work, backing up Meraki and absolutely frustrating him to the point we saw over that team radio. He's now on a two-stop strategy, along with Meraki, who we believe is also on a two-stop. But there is going to be a very interesting end to this Grand Prix. If Ben has to make, he has to make another pit stop, we reckon, but will he be able to catch Meraki and, of course, pass him with now about 3-second time penalty? There is a few other storylines going on in this Grand Prix. A lot of people fighting for that mid-pack. And, of course, Razin Shai is not afraid to get his elbows out against Meraki, who is currently finding himself in P9 with Razin in P7. Lottie Nova and Tim Marduk, your two double stoppers as we go down the inside in the final corner between the Kick Sauber and the Alpine of Concept 7. That guy Vince running very well up in third place at the moment as well, about 4 seconds off the front two. Right now he's looking for could be a third place finish in the Drivers' Championship, which would be a fantastic result for that guy. But there is the championship leader, and Meraki knows he has to make up some more places. He knows Ben's got another pit stop, but it's going to be very interesting to see if he can make it. And let's find out if he can, going down this back straight now. With his DRS open, Karim makes up another move up into P4. As he goes down the inside looking for a move, it doesn't make it on this occasion. Of course, they may be wearing the same colours, but they are definitely not teammates, as you saw earlier with their battling. But it's been a fantastic opening part of this Grand Prix. As you see the two Kick Saubers getting closer and closer to each other. But that has been the Grand Prix so far. Ben has the advantage on track, but of course, there is still tyre and pit stops to come. Oh, as the two Kick Saubers have a little bit of touchy wheel time as they try and battle each other into the middle sector. Meraki making that move. I'll throw it back to our commentators, both Toms in the box. TK, you came back at the right time, my friend.
Certainly did, as we do watch both Saubers once again having a bit of civil war amongst themselves. Just to keep you an update as to how the race is developing. Even with that 3-second penalty, the championship would go to Team Marduk by a singular point. who finished second and gained 20 points. Meraki, who finished seventh and gained an additional 10. It would be 1 point in the favour of Team Marduk. What a wonder story that would most certainly be if we now finish the race on that 31 of 58. But Meraki, all he has to do is get back into 6th place as a minimum should Ben finish second here this afternoon. But it is all still to play for with 28 laps of racing to go. Tom Wilkinson's back with us as well. Tom, what are you expecting so far from this race? We do watch Meraki get a move on Saturday.
I'm expecting a safety car at some stage. Haven't had one as yet, but we usually seem to get one in the last 10, 15, 5 laps of any Creator Series race that we do get. Tim Martin's still sternly examining the rear geometry of that RB car. You'd think the 2 leaders will have to stop again. Dakgalits definitely will have to stop again. Meraki, debatable. Can he do 34 laps on a set of the medium tyres? You think he should be able to manage that as the fuel starts to burn away. And you have to say, Jake, he's done a really commendable job of working his way through the traffic. Hasn't cost himself too much time. Still only 10 seconds off the back of Ben with better tyres still at this stage.
He certainly has indeed. It's all still to play for. We enter onto lap 32 of 58. Most of our drivers still expecting to run the 2-stop, with the exception of Karim 70, who sits in 3rd place, and potentially Formula Kai as well, as they make their way through from 5th place. Of course, Kai did qualify from pole position, as looked like he's got good opportunities and good pace around here at Jasper Arena, but it is all still up in the air. Who knows? Should we see a safety car come out? Bert Mylander to make an appearance here in the final round of the Creator Series would only be apt as we go under the beautiful sponsor was designed by Scotty Designs, by the way, in beautiful Creator Series red, as they run down towards turn 6 and turn 7. Just to keep you updated, of course, intentional safety cars, as always, outlawed after lap 48. We've got about 16 laps until we are expecting that ruling to be removed, or, enforced, shall we say, towards the end of the race.
100%. Late race safety car. Bad for Tim at Marduk. Good for Meraki. It'll bring him back towards everybody, and Ben will be hobbled with that 3-second penalty that he has looming over his head. Formula Kai dispose of the Alpine of that guy Vince. Just that battling when Kai came out of the pits has just left him on the back foot ever so slightly with Cream, only with 1 lap older tyres and 3 seconds up the road, and with some very decent pace as well. RB Haas, your leading 4 cars. Then it is Vince, and then the championship leader, who, as things stand, will pick up his 2nd Creator Series crown.
Absolutely, it's going to be an interesting one. He hasn't won a championship since season 4, if you can remember to cast your mind all the way back there. Of course, Ben picked up his 2 championships, season 6 and season 8 respectively, so still lots to go in the bag. We can, if you think back to season 6 where he won it on the final corner in France, we now head to Abu Dhabi where he could, you never know, win it at the final corner here, as could Jake as well. We see that guy Vince in pit road for what will be his 2nd stop of the afternoon, opting for medium hard in terms of race strategy. So these hard tyres now expected to take him 25 laps until the end of the race. Everybody trying to, figure out the fastest way to get around this circuit, I think, Tom.
The 2 stops are going to have a lot of overtaking to do in the latter stages of this Grand Prix, which is going to make for a fascinating chase to the flag, and of course chase for that championship, whether it is going to be going to Australia or to England, with Jake now up into P5 courtesy of that Vince pit stop. Jake, I'm fairly sure without any safety cars he will be running to the end of the race on those medium tyres. 34 laps is a hell of a lot of laps on a set of mediums, but with the fuel burning off, as we said, that should be enough just to get him over the line and hopefully complete that 1-stop strategy. Ben's 16 laps on his hard compound tyres, a further 25 needed. That is also going to be a hell of a lot of laps and a very, very long stint. Can he make them last to the end? Not 100% sure.
I think that's going to be the question on everybody's minds. And whilst we have a bit of a lull in the racing, we're in this opportunity here where Ben could try and take advantage of the lead. I've got a bit of a learning opportunity for everybody. Fun fact for you, the gravel, the original surface here at Jasper Arena, is made of 850,000 tonnes of grey-whack aggregate that was shipped to Abu Dhabi from Baston Hill Quarry in Shropshire, England. Oh, we got a safety car. There we go. That ruins that. Well, VSC, my apologies. Virtual safety car is deployed, so we have to slow down to 60% pace, and beautiful track graphic comes up for us. But yeah, it's the same surface that's used at the Bahrain International Circuit, which gives it a really high level of grip. But yeah, it's shipped all the way from the UK to Abu Dhabi, which is something I found rather fascinating.
Yes, and I also know that you've been holding on to that stat for the entirety of this broadcast so far, desperately trying to find a way to chuck it into our little creator series tidbits. Virtual safety car, though, nobody out of the leaders has been able to benefit from this as yet. If it stays out for any longer and Super Leader Baby picks up a drive-through penalty, that is not good news at all for himself. As I say, it might be coming in. It comes in immediately, and Tim McMahon still on the back of the lead RB car. The only problem is he's got his former championship rival in Cream 17 all over the back of him, ducking, weaving and sending it down the inside. Already on the button is Cream 17 down into turn number 9 and does push the Haas driver down into third position. On the money there was Kareem, and getting up into second place. Ben, I think he's still going to fight it. No, wasn't quite close enough for Kareem. Not satisfied with second. Got a lot of pace in the back of that V-Cub car and challenging his teammate for the lead.
I think that caught a few drivers out with just how short that virtual safety car was barely half a lap or so, and managed to get going rather promptly. Did race control, but Ben will happily sit on the back. But look at Formula Kai starting to make inroads on his teammate, as is Meraki. 3.2. The gap between Meraki and Formula Kai at the moment, a further 1.8 up the road. You can see the distance between the two championship contenders, and that 3-second penalty is going to be hanging over that Australian's head like a hangover on a Sunday as we make our way through over half-race distance, lap 35 of 58. Let us know in the live chat who you are rooting to win this race, who you're rooting on to win the championship. Kareem 17 almost takes out the rear of Lolly Nova there.
Kareem is definitely back, isn't he? We've seen performances so far this season where we have seen Formula Kareem back in action, but now Kareem 17 finally hitting his stride in the second half of the season. Even on equal cars, looking so strong, isn't he? Tim McMahon fancying it around the outside there, Lolanoba. No, sorry, the inside of Lolanoba. The Italian stallion almost falls off the circuit, returns the favour. Punch to punch as Ben falls off the track on the exit of the chicane. And here comes Formula Car. He's trying to move on a couple of cars into turn number 9 in the sprint race. Didn't exactly go to plan. Ducking and weaving all over the place is the former two-time champ. Sends it down the inside of Lolanoba. Has Lolly got anything to fight with the up and under? No, he's got a big handful of oversteer as Kai falls off the circuit in sympathy.
I think it was Scotty designed to cause that virtual safety car. He was into the pits, new set of mediums for himself, but we're hearing reports that Ben could potentially have some damage. We'll wait for confirmation from our man in the corner who has all the knowledge on the ground, and we'll wait to see what he can come up with. But Lolly Nova, as you said, now having a bit of a stalking horse between the two Haas cars as Karim 17 charges further and further up the road.
Trying to look to see if he's got any damage. Visually, that front wing does look to be intact, but it might be, that sort of lime green colour where you can't see any major damage from the visuals, but it is just giving you a little bit of understeer and making your life that little bit harder than it needs to be. Formula Car, remember, pitted significantly later than Lolanoba, charging using a bit of air. It's going to send it down the inside of the second V-Carb car, and that is clinical from Formula Kai, chasing, remember, his first victory in the F1 Creator Series. He's been the bridesmaid so many times in his Creator Series career. Is this the opportunity to try and grab his first crown with Green 17 a further 4 seconds up the road?
We'll wait and see how this one unfolds. Will Kai play the ultimate wingman duties for Tim Monik, who we are hearing has damage in front, wing damage to be precise. So one of the Houses slightly wounded, one of the Houses has a choice to make here as we make our way through the rest of the race. Kaiser in for himself as he's decided, swoops around the outside of Tim Monik. We have more yellow flags in the second sector, turn 7, and that looks to be, I believe, Concept 7 who's had a bit of a moment, or Tukey who's had a bit of a moment, and it will be the Williams, I think, just getting going once again. So unfortunately, no need for anything further than just a localised yellow flag on this occasion.
So just 3 seconds now separating Ben and Maraki. Coincidentally, the penalties that Ben currently has looming over his head. You would think he's going to have to make another stop. Whether he's going to be goal hanging for that safety car with just over 20 laps to go, that remains to be seen. We just have to wait and see how Tim McMahon plays this. He played a blinder to get himself some really strong track position, had to make Jake work for it back through the traffic. But very shortly they are going to be fighting once again over the same pieces of tarmac. I don't think Jake is going to be quite as respectful as maybe he was the first time they came across each other in this race.
I'm hearing mixed inputs from chat here. Some are saying Ben's got wing damage. Some are saying he's got side pod damage. I wasn't aware we could get side pod damage in the rules and regulations of the Creator Series.
I didn't think we had realistic damage on.
No.
I mean, fascinating stuff there. If he does have side pod damage, then I have no idea how he's managed to do that on reduced damage. But that would be a real kick in the teeth because his pace has been so strong, and he doesn't want to have that handicap of multiple bits of car sustaining significant damage.
So Larry in the YouTube chat is lying to me. They can't get the side pod damage. It must be front wing damage on Tim and Monet's car. We almost have some news coming in from Clipbook Car. We'll wait just a few moments until we throw it over to him. But look at the like of Lottie Nova starting to make inroads once again. Tim and Monet, I think, will be hoping for a safety car here. It doesn't look like major front wing damage because neither end plates are missing by the look of it. You can see both of them at least sitting well and truly intact on that on the Haas car that just passed by in front of Lottie Nova. But Meraki's still making inroads, but he is under pressure himself from Safso, our Season 1 champion, as they approach, 20 laps to go in this Grand Prix. It is going to be a photo finish, everybody. Of course, we have got 10 laps until intentional safety cars are out the window. As Tom picks up 10-second penalty for ignoring blue flags and is off the circuit as they exit through turn 7. That puts him on a grand total of 28 seconds worth of penalties. Congratulations, Tom. But for the meantime, we're going to throw it over to the man who's got his ear to the ground in more ways than one. It's Clipbook Carl.
Welcome back, everybody. Gather round in Clipbook Corner. First of all, we cast our minds back to lap number 30. This is Meraki. I mean, if you ever wanted a visualization of how powerful the new mediums were, he was carving through the traffic. Not just on Razin up ahead, but on everybody else as well in this mid-pack. Razin just has a bit of a snap out of that sweeping left-hander. Meraki, again, car made out of tungsten, fair play to him, this time much more aggressive, going into the right-hander, chops off the opportunity as there's a V-carb, absolutely scything past the Haas. That is lolling over. Excellent stuff with the DRS dosage. So Meraki, much more ruthless, exactly what he needs to do. Kai, how he turned up so far behind, well, we make our way over to the hotel section. However, it wasn't a 5-star stay of delight. As you can see, that is not my computer freezing. That is Kai's computer freezing. That is lag issues for the Haas driver, hence why he shipped, just a few seconds to Kareem 70 and why he is playing some catch-up. We then move on to this one, though. You're all waiting for this one. Ben versus Lolly, lap 35. How did he accrue that damage? You're about to find out. Through to the chicane, we don't go, but now we do go. Kareem absolutely... Well, the slingshot was ridiculous, quite frankly. Into the chicane, though, Ben knows he has to get a move on with this. He wants to keep the pace as much as possible. Still, really low down on fuel, by the way. But down the inside he goes. Yes, he brakes. They almost chops his front wing off on the diffuser of Kareem 70. A little bit of argy-bargy, opens up the corner to leave a tiny bit of space for Lolly. However, Lolly just goes hopping straight over the sausage curbs. And as a result, that is lime green damage for the Australian sensation. I'll be completely candid about this. I think it was just clumsy from the pair of them, quite frankly. Yes, Ben needed to get a move on, but you'll see from Lolly's POV, absolutely sends it. And, well, Lolly does stay turning in, which is slightly interesting, to be honest with you, but we'll sweep on from that. The point is, doesn't leave much space on the outside. It's Lolly just not hitting the brakes, though, and jumping over the sausage curb. Two wrongs definitely don't make a right, and that was the bigger wrong of the lot. Lollin over, hops over, and gives the championship chaser some damage. But why we had the virtual safety car, it was because of this. Grid jokes we ride on board with Scotty. We don't have his point of view, but this will tell the story. Tyres are getting worn. Heads are being lost out there. Here at Yas Marina, and out of the final corner, slams the foot flat to the floor as much as possible, and that is a meeting with Barry R. All in an instant. It might have been a bit of a limbo. We had to wait to get to this point, but suddenly this race is exploding into life again.
Well, it certainly has, Carl. Thank you very much for keeping your ear to the ground for everything that is going on. Tim Mardick with that 3-second penalty still looming over his head. I think that will be the big talking point when this race concludes. We have just over 18 laps to go in this Grand Prix. He sits just one place ahead of his championship rival, who will be absolutely licking his lips at the moment, feeling the opportunity that is about to come his way. Ty Ben on championship wins in the course of the Race Series. Both of them, as it stands, will be on 2 apiece. But who knows? We can still see our good friend Barry R come into the picture and ruin it all for some drivers. But Tom Wilkinson, how are we looking in terms of strategy for Meraki? What's the game plan sat in that cockpit now?
I think Jake doesn't have to be too proactive at this stage. He can react to what goes on around him. Then it's going to be a long old stint to get those hard tyres to the end of the race. 40 plus laps. Nobody's got near doing that thus far in the race so far. We're only at lap number 40. So tall order for Ben to stretch those tyres to the end of the race. You'd imagine, because he is just starting to struggle. You can just see the rear of that car a little bit unstable, not quite doing what he desires. You think he is probably going to lose track position to Jake, to Safso. But if Ben does want to make a stop, there are much bigger gaps in this train, 12 seconds in particular, between Dakar, Vince and Chappers, that if Ben does want to stop, we can try and filter into and then charge back towards Jake in the latter stages.
I think if memory serves me correctly, Jake is going to almost certainly have to make another stop. There's 17 laps remaining. He's done 16 already on a set of those medium tyres. So I think the expectation would be at least a 2-stop for Meraki. Ben, if he wanted to, could potentially try and expand those hard tyres out. They won't feel very good at the end, but there is a potential there to convert this strategy into the one stop to see this race out if he wants to try and maybe trip Meraki up over his own well-being, shall we say. But it's all still up in the air. We could still see those safety cars come into fruition, because of course lap 48 would be that stalking point, that moment that will be crossing the threshold. And I wonder if there are a few drivers that are piloting their cars at the moment that maybe want to have a little bit of influence on the championship, some would say, Tom.
Yeah, Ben also won't want to blink too early. He knows that he's had luck in previous seasons, previous championship campaigns where he's boxed and then a safety car comes out 30 seconds later. And I think he'll be well aware of the fact that if he does pit now and a safety car comes out within the next couple of laps, he is knee deep in it. You can see the live standings there, 7 points separating Meraki and Team at Marduk. We said that Ben is going to need a favour in this race. He's running out of time, needs to try and pull a punch from somewhere to try and react to this really good race and really good strategy and really good stint, I should say, from Jake.
Yeah, of course, those standings notwithstanding the penalty that is being held to Team at Marduk as well. That will be applied at the end of the race, but as it stands quite literally and metaphorically in the race at the moment, with Ben in 4th, Meraki in 5th, that is how the championship standings will look. 7 points between the two of them going in the favour of Meraki. It's all closing down to the final few moments in battle. There are some great battles in amongst the field. The likes of Vince and Concept 7, both Alpines putting pressure on Fabio as well for 8th place. You've got the likes of some other drivers in and around the field. The intervals are starting to work their way up as Grid Jokes gets the better of Chappers as well, who's in towards pit lane, which we would see if the penalties weren't on the screen.
If the championship protagonists are going to the end, they've got a big problem, and that problem is that guy Vince, 10 seconds further back down the road, but he's about 2 seconds a lap faster at this stage of the race and will catch and most likely pass in the closing stages. Yellow flag is out. That is Scotty Designs retiring, and there is your safety car. That is why Tim at Marduk was hesitant to box, didn't want to get off the tyres too soon, and he has now an opportunity to equalise things with Jake strategy-wise and sprint to the finish with 15 laps to go.
Well, here we go then. It's going to come down to a sprint race until the end. Almost everybody will put a fresh set of tyres on to see this race out, and I think we're getting a little bit of deja vu to seeing scenes like this before, especially at Abu Dhabi. We got Bruno Man United saying, absolute joke of a league, letting people intentionally cause safety cars. Well, firstly, you're wrong on 2 points. One, we're not a league, we're a series. And two, you have no idea that Scotty didn't bin that car by accident. You're just assuming because that fits your narrative, so enjoy that.
100%. Don't call out our Mean King Scotty Designs without the referential evidence to back it up. I think that is the best way to put it. This will, of course, also eradicate the lead that Dream 17 Formula Kai had built up. 11 seconds clear of anybody else. In a league of 2 and a club of 2 as Ben getting that front wing changed. He's happy to relinquish a bit of track position to maximise the downforce he can get on that car. That means Jake should be in front. Razin also changing the front wing on that Sauber car. Ben's still in the pits there. That looked like a very, very long stop. Oh, there we go.
I think that was just maybe a bit of decent inside of Tim Marduk, but he has managed to rejoin the pack and will do. Just in 7th place, they'll have Safso between them. Of course, Safso and Tim Marduk good friends, and Safso opting for the medium tyres. Everybody else, pretty much with a few exceptions, opting for the hards as well. Chesnoid Gaming's gone for fresh mediums. Super Noodle Bagel has gone very bold indeed and opted for a set of the soft tyres, which of course, in theory, is possible. We look at the likes of Lenz the Goat and Tim Marduk. Both of those have taken their soft tyres 16 laps in this race, and they will be able to do some under little pressure. In terms of course, lower fuel loads, they won't put as much pressure during the safety car periods, but they are going to be stressing those tyres to an absolute extreme here.
100%. State of play really, really interesting. Vince staying out, so he's got 10 laps already on his set of the hard compound tyres. You've then got Jake ahead of Safso, ahead of Ben, Lolan Ober in between them, and the Alpine that stayed out as well. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Jake or Ben, obviously, to win this race. Ben more so because he's got that 3-second penalty. I find it doubtful he's going to be able to run and pull 3 seconds over the group, so they're going to be fighting over, at best, 3rd, I would say. then Ben just needs a little bit of help from somewhere to see Jake fall down the order, get that buffer of 9 points that he can manage to pull back. With that penalty he got, I'm pretty sure that guarantees as well he's not going to get the cleanest driver award, which is another point that is going to be so valuable.
Cleanest driver at the moment, I can give you my best prediction. We'll go to Lenz the Goat, who has actually got 0 warnings and 0 penalties. We've got a drive-through penalty for Concept 7 for speeding under the safety car, so maybe next race or next season we'll see Concept 8 coming out, and we are being told Lenz is AI, so it won't be given to him. So the next best driver is the pairing of Jess Ball and Chesnoid Gaming, both on 1 warning, in addition to, I believe, Dakai Vince also on just a singular warning, as is Scotty Designs, by the way, but of course he hit the wall. But he is in the Twitch chat, so we have been told that he is in absolutely okay condition, not needing to be referred to the medical centre for further scans. Scotty, it's always good to see you in the chat. I hope you're doing okay, and that crash wasn't too hard for you.
2 drive-through penalties handed out, by the way. Concept 7 with 1, and Super Noodle Bagel with a second one, and also slamming it into the wall.
Oh, hello, we've got Williams F1. Have they taken over our team radio? They've said, is anyone up for a LAN event?
Hijacked.
I think we might have been. Who knows? You know what, Williams? If you are watching, you do see Super Noodle Bagel absolutely thunder himself into the barrier. I'd be up for a LAN event. I could be tempted.
Does sound pretty fun, has to be said. We also got a lovely look at Scotty's Creator Series barriers that we saw there. Lovely view of that. A Super Noodle Bagel pile-drived himself into the walls, but was unsuccessful in removing any of his wheels. Jess Ball into the pits to get shot of a set of hard compound tyres. Super Noodle Bagel finally manages to rip the carcass out of that Mercedes car and end his day 15 laps early.
We're being told Scotty is in the medical centre right now. He's having some medical grade fluids to make sure that he's feeling okay. I've been told some IVs to make sure that he's just, hydrated enough to make sure he gets himself back to his hotel at the end of the night. So good to see Scotty Signs in there. Hayden Connor saying remove Concept's drive-through penalty. Who's left the session?
Ben's left the session.
Dear.
We've seen earlier in the season he's had some internet issues. Concept 7 has retired as well with that drive-through. Fingers crossed Ben can get back in before the restart, which could be this lap, but with the way that the field is still spread out, you've got 2 Red Bulls in the second sector still. You've got a Williams of Jess Ball still in sector 2 as well. Ben's internet has dropped. Stream has crashed as well, so this is deja vu from, a few weeks ago. Monaco was the big one where Ben was having so many internet issues. I think 3 or 4 times his stream went down and his internet dropped out. So touch wood, everybody, that we can get our 2-time champ back in the session.
Well, he is back in the session as we say that. But hello everyone from Ben's stream for the time being. Thanks for tuning in and coming to say hello whilst Ben gets himself sorted out. And the safety car peels its way down towards turn 6 and turn 7. He is back in the session. Whether he can get back in his car, rather promptly, that will be to be decided. But you can see how spread out the field is at the moment. There is a lot of opportunity for the safety car to go on for a little bit longer until everybody gets themselves into that chase pack. I wonder if we might see it go one more lap if we're waiting for the likes of Chesnoid, Jess Ball, Lenz the Goat, who is AI, or what I'm being told, and Tom as well, to make their way back to the back of the pack. And of course, I think that Jess Ball is making their way through the final corner on towards that lead lap. We'll wait for that message from Race Control, because it normally will come as you enter into the third and final sector, but it has yet to be displayed, which gives me a little bit of quiet confidence, Tom.
100%. What we should bear in mind is the safety car can be called in basically as the safety car arrives at pit lane entry, which means you've got about 5 seconds to slam the anchors on and prepare everybody behind for the restart. So we just need to hold our horses, because the safety car, we do know, can come in very, very late and also ignore drivers that haven't caught up yet.
It certainly can do. We see Ryan L83 is yet to catch up. We round the final corner, and that pretty much sums up the safety car will not be in this lap. So we've got another adventure around the track, another 3.281 miles, if you want that in kilometres, 5.281 kilometres to go until we see our way through towards the green flag running, which will leave us with just about 11 or 12 laps to go here, Tom. So a good opportunity, a good lap distance for the mediums to run. Hard tyres will probably take a few laps to warm up as well.
100%. Looking at the tyre strategies, a lot of drivers have favoured the hards. Inside the top 10, there's only the Aston Martin of Grid Jokes and then Safso, who are on the medium compound tyre. Safso's hand was forced because he had gone hard for his first 2 tyre strategies in this race. So the medium's not a particularly popular tyre, it has to be said. We saw Ben coming over the radio saying the hard is definitely the compound you want to be on, much more comfortable on that compound of tyre as well. So that probably explains why people just don't fancy the yellow stripe medium tyres, and it's not just Abu Dhabi where those mediums aren't a great race tyre.
You're absolutely right. I'll present to Alex Herod, asked in our little chat behind the scenes, can he have the track length in feet and inches? Now, you know what? I'm going to absolutely honour that, and that is 17,323 feet and 8.16 inches. You're welcome, folks at home, who've learned just a new fun fact about the Asmarina circuit that you absolutely will never need in real life. Safety car will be in this lap as we get a fun fact about our race leader at present, Karim 17. He's a big fan of cats, domestic cats. Go and ask him at twitch.tv/Formula Karen now with mainly exclamation marks on 1-1, where our producers probably forgot to press the shift button. But we are preparing to go racing once again. Green flag conditions will lend themselves. I think we've only got one driver to make their way up to the back of the pack. That will be Jessica Ball, if memory serves me correctly. The Karim 17 now controls the restart here. Tom, where do you think he's going to go? Surely final corner.
You'd think so. There's an opportunity to steal a march, and with 12 laps of a sprint to the flag and a championship to decide as well, there is so much at stake. We've had so many interlopers coming and going in this championship battle, haven't we, this season? But from the ashes of Alex Gillen's title defence, once again emerges yet another England versus Australia, Meraki versus Tia McMahon. Scrap for supremacy, and going slightly early there is Karim 17 before we get to the penultimate corner, pinning to the floor of that RB car and trying to get away from Formula Kai, who's going to be battling very, very hard. They've been the fastest two out there this evening, and then it is that guy Vince who might be the bottleneck on those old hard compound tyres.
Absolutely, battle well and truly on. Meraki has the track position advantage and the penalty-free advantage, but let's not forget, he's on 3 warnings. He's somehow survived to make his way through, so that penalty could come his way as well. Sasso now attacks. Our championship leader at the moment in towards turn 5, gets the move done. Ben goes for it as well. They're side by side, and he's not going to give anything up as they run down towards turn 6 and 7. Now Tim Marek has a chance. He has a run in towards the chicane of corners. They're side by side. Who will be later on the brakes to decide surely what could be the championship? Tim Marek to the inside. Meraki has the opening for corner for turn 7, but Ben will have the run now towards turn 8 and 9.
Opportunity, Ben needs to get his skates on here. He has to beat Jacob by a few positions as well. Meraki, surely he's got to defend this. Ben looking for the smallest of gaps down the inside into turn number 9. We can't see where they are with the cameras, but I think the Haas has come through. Yes, he has. Jake has run off the road in frantic slides past the pair of them. Razin Chai passing his teammate as well. Jake's got to fight this season 4 champ versus season 5 champ teammates. A very loose term to use because for the entirety of this race, sinking their teeth into one another. Grid Jokes fancies a run at the championship leader as well. Ben into 7th, stays in 7th. Jake tumbling to 9th.
Again as well, one quick trip off the track for Meraki will result in a 3-second penalty coming his way. I'm almost certain of it. So there's still opportunities for Ben to get this race off, get the championship win. It is quite literally hanging in the balance. We've been told Tim Marek has damage once again. He got it repaired at the first time of asking when the safety car came out, and almost immediately again he's got damage. And Razin Chai right on the back of that Haas car will try and see what he's got. Front right end plate missing. Surely that's got to be game, set and match here for Tim Marek.
Especially with that 3-second penalty. No left hand, right hand end plate, I should say. And he's now fighting with one hand tied behind his back. Big battle going on for the final spot on the podium as Datkovich gets gobbled up by Lolanova, gobbled up by the season 1 champion Sapso as well. Twice he's finished 4th in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Hasn't finished on the podium at this race, but huge opportunity with the Italian stallion. Sat just in front of him.
Absolutely, we're on lap 48 of 58. It will be 10 laps to go when we cross the timing line next time around. Meraki sat in 9th place. This will be enough to secure him the championship, and he knows he can sit pretty at the moment because he knows the championship will well and truly come to him. It's been a fantastic fight all season long, and now he's just got to hold on for 10 more laps of this race, 30 more miles to try and navigate around Abu Dhabi, because the race that hasn't or could have been going the way of Tim Marek seems to have crumbled quicker than a castle made of sand.
But Ben is not getting bogged down with this front wing down. He's still glued to the rear of the pack that sits behind Safso and P3, who has got up into the podium places at the expense of the Italian stallion Lolanova. As we suspected, Karim 17, Formula Kai, they have the pace advantage over everybody else this evening, have checked out 2 seconds ahead of this chasing peloton. Jake still sat behind his teammate, knows he doesn't need to take any undue risks here because he is going to become a 2-time Creator Series champion. As things stand, there is so much at play and so much at stake in these final few laps. Infratic fighting for a spot on the podium as well. Datgavince's tyres are ailing as he loses yet another place.
Absolutely right, as we run down towards turn 6 and 7 again. Watch the Alpine on the back of Infratic. Will they look for a move? Meraki's coming over the team radio. What was he trying to do? There was no gap, exclaims the Kick Sauber driver, who is still stuck behind his teammate but knows he does not have to go anywhere. The race again coming to him in the instance. And we still watch Datgavince, who's got Team Martic behind them. Will they help or hinder the championship contender? Safso dives down the inside of Lolly Nova, picks up a 3-second penalty for doing so. And surely that's going to hurt any chance that he has of standing on the podium here this afternoon.
Ben will like that. That is a car that he can now definitely beat in a straight fight with a 3-second penalty for both of the two former McLaren drivers. Razinchai thought about it around the outside of turn number 12. There wasn't the space there to challenge and try and steal 7th place away from Tiamat Mard with the Season 5 champion all over the rear gearbox. There's no front gearbox, I should say, as well, all over the rear of the Haas car of Tiamat Marduk. Razinchai is definitely going to make Tiamat Marduk's life very, very difficult in the last 9 laps.
Certainly is indeed. If you're thinking anything otherwise, you have not been watching Creator Series before, and if this is your first time here, firstly, welcome. You've joined at quite possibly the best time because you're on for championship fight as it does stand. And the two drivers, 7th and 9th respectively. I say there's Team Martic dives from quite literally out of nowhere down the inside of Datgavince, who does rather well to stay out of the way. Razinchai follows him through. I wonder if the Australian is having a bit of a resurgence here. He knows what he's got to do, the difference that he's got to try and separate himself from, but it could be too little too late here, Tom.
Exit stage left, Datgavince pulled out of that one very, very quickly. Saw the attack from Tiamat Marduk down the inside of 5. Didn't fancy it one bit as Ben has got the bit between his teeth despite the significant front wing damage that Haas car is currently holding. Still debating 3rd and 4th. Safso and Lolanoba around the outside into turn number 9. Charges the Italian stallion, but there's a little bit of contact once and twice, and Safso sent spinning round, and that is going to see him tumble outside of the points paying positions.
Oh, so unfortunate for Safso. Just tried to go on the edge a little bit too much and has paid the price, unfortunately. But this opens up an opportunity for Lolly Nova to go from last to a podium as it currently stands. He's 3.3 seconds off the back of Formula Guy. But as they continue to run through, Guy sets the fastest lap of the race. Fabio will be itching out the bit to try and get that podium away from the V-Carb driver.
He's had so much strife this season, Fabio. So much bad luck as well. Best finish of 4th in Suzuka a couple of weeks ago. Would love to round off the season in his favoured scarlet colours with a podium finish. He knows that Tiamat Marduk isn't really going to beat him with that 3-second penalty. Got the 2 Saubers behind, but Jake looks like he's pretty happy just to sit and watch and wait and see what unfolds in front of him and then maybe react if Ben finds himself in the unlikely position that he could pick up the title.
It is looking more and more unlikely as the laps continue to dwindle down. There is an opportunity still standing in the present. Should Meraki make a mistake? Let's not count that out completely because it could happen with the penalty that is still hanging over Team Marduk's head. Meraki would have an almighty disaster of a remaining 8 laps, but with how hard himself and Razinchai have been battling, quite literally nothing is off the cards here, Tom, because we've seen championship rivals fight, we've seen teammates fight, we've seen, as we called them earlier, team acquaintances fight. But I think this is far from over here.
Yeah. If you look up mate in the dictionary, you won't see a picture of these two drivers. Razin and Meraki have been going at it hammer and tong for the entirety of this 51 lap that we've had so far here at Yas Marina. The sun has set. It's Groom 17 Formula Kai who are glistening out in front, streaking away from the rest of the pack. 4 seconds now the gap. We have a yellow flag. Just hold your horses there, everybody, because Tom and Lens the Go to become entangled in turn number 9. Tom with yet another penalty, racking them up like they're going out of fashion. But we do get underway again without a virtual or full course caution.
Very fortunate, I think, for those up at the front. Maybe not as fortunate for Meraki, who would have liked the bunch to group up once again with only a few laps remaining. It would have been an opportunistic move for him, but then again increases the risk level as we get towards the end of the race. There's absolutely zero chance of Team Marduk's penalty being removed. For those of you still asking in the Twitch chat, it's not going to happen. You can stop asking, you can stop wasting the breaths, because all the penalties never get removed. Have never done in Creator Series history, unfortunately. Maybe unfortunately for Team Marduk on this occasion, it is luck of the draw.
Could still finish 7th in this race. I know that's not going to pick him up the championship, but Vince's tyres falling away very, very quickly. 2 seconds separating Meraki and now Grid Jokes, who pushes the Alpine down a further spot. If that gap just continues to extend, then Ben could be smelling a potential opportunity if things go awry for the former Season 4 champions. Infratic examining the rear of that Lolanoba car, all over the back of the Italian stallion through the final sector. Didn't quite find the space to fit a Ferrari Formula 1 car, either down the inside or around the outside, to steal 3rd place off his hands.
Pays off. Grim70, I think, will almost certainly take the race victory here this afternoon. He's still 8/10 clear of Formula Kai. Both of those opting for a late call onto the 2-stop. They're running the hard tyres, as are the remainder of the top 7, all the way down to Meraki. Griddo's just down in 8th, running the medium tyres, splitting the rest of the pack all the way down to 11th place, who opted for the hards for this safety car restart. But we watch Fabio now trying to chase down Lolinoba for what he believes could be his podium here this afternoon. He said right at the start of F125, you can cast your mind back about 6 months or so, that this was his game, and I wonder when we're finally going to start seeing what he was seeing back in July.
Picked up a podium in that first race in Spain. Remember all those weeks and months ago. He's only been on the podium once since then as Fabio, but this is a huge opportunity. But in Fratic, it's a tall order because Lolanoba is going to fight this very, very hard indeed. Here comes the first scrap. Fabio finding space, the smallest of spaces, to the inside of the run into 9, switches to the outside and having to dance the long way round. Are they going to tango and fall off the circuit? It's Fabio slightly wide there, but he charges past the Italian stallion. Infratic, for the first time today, finds himself situated on the podium.
He certainly does. He managed to make it chance at the final time of asking. I wonder how hard Lolinoba is going to try and attack our native man from Portugal. He now resident in Germany, but he'll try and defend this like his life. It will be trying to hold on to the podium as much as he possibly can, but he's got to remember the gratitude, the monumental battle that is happening behind him, which is still both championship leaders.
100%. Ben now needs a minor miracle, or in fact a major miracle, with the way that this is shaping out. Vince is falling off the face of the planet, nearly a second off the back of Grid Jokes. He needs to hope that a lot of drivers continue to fall away with that Alpine car, and then something can happen in front. He's not going to finish first or second unless Kareem and Kai collide in the closing 5 laps of this race. 6 seconds the margin. They have been a class above in this race. Fabio's going to come under pressure here from Lolanoba. Does he want to take it into the chicane, or does the Italian stallion want to wait? Team at Monac doesn't want to wait. They were almost rammed into the back of Lolly, who's in 2 minds about sending it up the inside of Fabio, and that could see him pocket pinched here. They return the favour from about 20 laps ago when they were bumping and grinding through the chicane. This time Lolanoba just about holds on, but they're eyeball to eyeball on the run into turn 9.
Still not over side by side, as it's going to be Tim and Monac with the outside line, tries to swing it. Lolinoba leaves him just enough room as he tries to swing around the outside line. He'll tend himself to the inside as they run through 10 and 11. Tim and Monac, a categoric move from himself to try and regain one hand on the championship. But I think it could be too little too late as we cross under the hotel bridge once again. He'll sniff Fabio just in front of him, but the Haas car, with the damage that he sustained from the safety car restarts, surely will be hurting too much to put in a bid here.
They've got 2 Saubers now queuing up to try and relegate him down 2 further spots. Yellow flag is out once again. Tom and Lenz the Goat have become entangled, this time in the 6-7 chicane. Just got to be careful, shouldn't be a safety car at this stage. It can't come out on lap 56, I believe. There could be a 1-lap safety car, but then you have to have 2 laps at the end of the race for green flag running. But you have to commend Tim Monac and Lolanoba there. Fantastic stuff into turn number 9. There was literally no more space on the inside for Lolly's car. Ben judging it absolutely perfectly and getting 4th place for his troubles.
Can we see Meraki hold on to where he is? Because I believe he's just got enough points to try and hold on, even if the Kicksauber picks up a penalty. He's been sat on 3 warnings since the safety car restart. He's been picture perfect with his moves, not extending one tyre outside of track limits, because that could blow this whole championship wide open and be decided quite literally on penalties as we make our way through. Lap 55 of 58. We've got 3 laps to go when we cross the timing beam for the next time around. I think a lot of our drivers will be hoping, begging and praying to see that checkered flag fly. There'll be a tall order for all of our drivers to try and make it through, and I wonder if there were any pilots sat in their cockpits going ground control to Major Tom. Can you hear me?
7th place at the moment is the worst that Ben's going to finish if things stay as they are. 3.2 seconds the gap between Meraki and Grid Jokes. That'll mean Jake in P6, Ben in P7. It'll be the 3rd race in a row that they finish line astern in the results page. But Ben needs to try and find something in these last 3 laps, otherwise that third Creator Series Championship is just going to be falling by the wayside. Needs to hope and pray for something to happen in front of him.
Of course, even if Meraki picks up a 3-second penalty here, he won't drop a position, but Ben will drop all the way down to 6th place, which will almost certainly secure it for Meraki. It will be maybe a bit of a tactical issue for Meraki if he wants to try and push a little bit too hard, or maybe gets pushed a little bit wide by his teammate Razin Chai. But I don't think he's concerned on trying to battle Razin in front of him. He knows what's at stake. He knows what he could lose out on, I think is the grander way to look at it. If they try and bring the car home, he knows that where he's sat at the moment is more than acceptable to win this championship. A hard-fought victory over 10 rounds of the series that brings us home to Abu Dhabi to round off the Series 11. And of course, us here in 2025, we rejoin in 2026. It's going to be a fond farewell, I think, for a few drivers over the Christmas period.
100%. We still need to focus on this battle out in front. Kareem 70 has won a race in the F1 Creator Series for the 3 seasons that he has been a part of previously. Only a sprint victory to his name at the moment, and he's got 2 more tours of the Yas Marina circuit to go before he does pick up the victory in the season finale, as he did in Season X, winning in Las Vegas. But Formula Kai has never won in the F1 Creator Series. Started from pole position, Kareem managed to get a leg up with the strategy game. Kai's now got 2 laps to try and put that RB in his back pocket as the championship battle goes on behind.
Certainly does indeed. They'll be battling out for race win and for pride of place amongst themselves. That top step of the podium certainly seems to shine a little bit brighter when you're standing atop of it, especially here under the lights in Yas Marina. We see Formula Kai with DRS on the run down towards turn 6 and turn 7, the chicane, the complex of corners. Kai goes for the move in towards. No wonder if this is a little bit of an over-ambitious move for Formula Kai. He's now left Karim with a dose of DRS down towards turn number 8, but also the opportunity to just sit in behind and wait for next lap, wait for that final opportunity to make the move. But Karim's not playing the waiting game. He goes for it into turn 9 and retakes the lead of the race almost immediately as Timo Marduk is in a podium position, folks.
It's still not enough though, realistically. He needs to finish 2nd if Jake is going to finish 7th in this race. He's 1 place shy on the road. That 3-second penalty, as things stand, not going to make 1 jot of difference to the championship table. Fabio maybe just for 1 second thought he could try and nab 3rd place back into turn number 12, but thinking better of it. Right at the back of this train is the current championship leader, the former Season 4 champion, who is 1 lap away from becoming the 3rd Creator Series double champion.
He is a vested table of drivers that have had fantastic successes over the years. Of course, it's an honour to win 1 championship. It's a privilege to win 2, and it could have been an opportunity for Ben to settle his name in Creator Series history by winning a 3rd here this afternoon, but it doesn't look like it's going to be, albeit somewhat out of his control, I think, at the end of the day, but one that he'll look back on and realise that it is certainly possible to be able to come back from. As we make our way on towards the final lap of the race, we watch for the race lead. Formula Kai diving to the inside once again of turn 6. I wonder again if this is a bit of impatience for Formula Kai. He'll charge down towards turn 8 and turn 9. This will give Karim the opportunity for the race lead, almost certainly the last of the DRS zones here on this circuit. Karim looks right, switches left. There's wheel banging between the two of them. Wing damage for Karim, and Kai tries to squeeze the V-carb as close as he could to the wall, but Karim manages to hold on for the time being. They'll run in towards the final few corners, the final sector now, and can Karim try and hold on for a race win here under the lights to be back-to-back winner of the season finale in Creator Series Season X and Season 11, and it will be Karim 70 who rounds the final corner first. Under the lights, the fireworks will fly, and he is the winner of the Abu Dhabi race. But we look further behind for our championship contenders. Timo Marduk, who handed a 3-second penalty, could not win it. But for Meraki, it was so nice, he had to do it twice. He is a 2 times Creator Series champion.
Congratulations to Jake. Season 4 and Season 11 go to his name in the history of the Creator Series. Great battle on the last lap as well between Karim and Kai. A little bit naughty maybe from Kai, just moving about, and gave, I think, Karim a little bit of front wing damage, so he did a very good job to hang on to it in that tricky final set. The Timo Marduk drops down to P7 with the penalty. 6th for Meraki means he does pick up that 2nd Creator Series championship. But once again, Tom and Lens getting in town, getting entwined, and getting associated with one another, going through the 6-7 chicane. Kareem 70, we have done it. 1st win of the season. ending season 11 as he means to go on.
Certainly one that he'll remember, and I think certainly one that Tia McMurdoch will remember here this afternoon. Maybe not for the right reasons, though, as he finishes one place below Meraki, who comes over the team radio. Two-time champion, anyone? Well, there'll be celebrations in the Meraki household later this afternoon. I'm almost certain of it. Champagne are flowing, not only up in the team suites, but I'm sure back when he reaches home base as well. A fantastic hard-fought victory. Over 700 days ago, he won his last back in December of 2023. He now adds to the tally as he wins his second in season 11 in 2025. A fantastic championship fight from the young man who now joins the Hall of Fame for those drivers with not one, but 2 championship victories.
Let's go out. Clap your hands. Jake, Ben, excellent job. Gave us some good entertainment.